I'm Sav and this is Lagom Eats. In honor of Mother's Day, we're going to be making a gluten-free and vegan French toast. Every holiday, my mom makes this incredible French toast bake. My whole family loves it and we always look forward to it. Well, my mom eats gluten-free and vegan, so I wanted to make her a French toast that she could actually enjoy. Unfortunately, my mom lives all the way across the country, so I won't be seeing her this Mother's Day. But Mom, if you were here, this is what I would make you. We're gonna be baking our own gluten-free bread and then topping off the French toast with coconut whipped cream, some berries, and of course, lots of maple syrup. Let's take a look at the ingredients. To make our gluten-free bread, we're gonna be using a cup of warm water, 4 teaspoons of cornstarch, a cup and a half of gluten-free all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons of sugar, half a teaspoon of baking powder, 1 packet of active dry yeast, and 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. For the French toast, we're going to be using a little bit of olive oil, half a tablespoon of maple syrup and more for topping, a cup of almond milk, 1 can of coconut cream, half a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, half a teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1 tablespoon of chia seeds, and some berries for topping. Let's get baking. First thing we gotta do is activate our active dry yeast. So take your 1 cup of warm water, you want it about 80 to 90 degrees. You're gonna pour in your yeast and then pour in your 2 teaspoons of sugar. We're gonna give that a little mix. And then we're gonna let it sit for about 10 to 15 minutes until it gets all frothy and bubbly. Our yeast mixture is ready. As you can see, it's all frothy, it smells really yeasty, and that's how we know that our yeast is alive and well, it's growing, it's gonna puff up our bread real nicely. So we will start forming our dough. Take a large mixing bowl. We're gonna use a cup and a half of this all-purpose flour. So this is a mixture of brown rice flour, potato starch, rice flour, quinoa, millet, and tapioca starch, as well as xanthan gum. So xanthan gum is what keeps your bread together, it binds it. Gluten-free bread is really dense. It can be a little more spongy. I mean, it's a great alternative if you are gluten intolerant or have celiac disease, but it's not the same as regular bread. I'm sorry, it's not. So this is really dense and needs something to help it bind together. The xanthan gum is what does that. And so you actually, for a crusty kind of artisan no-knead bread like we're gonna make here, you need some more xanthan gum in addition to what's in this mixture. But because 1, it's expensive, 2, I don't use it very often, so I didn't wanna buy a whole bag of it. So we're gonna use cornstarch instead, and that's what's gonna help kind of bind it as well. It's gonna be a lot easier to properly measure our flour if we pour it in a different container than this bag. So I am going to just pour it into this bowl. So we need a cup and a half of this. We've got a half measuring cup. Scoop it out. Put the spoon into our measuring cup, and then using the back of a knife, we're gonna level it. All right, dump it into your bowl. And we'll do that 2 more times. All right, let's get our 4 teaspoons of cornstarch in there. Now, of course, you do not have to bake your own gluten-free bread. If you don't want to, you can buy, there's a lot of good brands out there like Udi's, I know my mom loves. You could get that for the French toast, but as you guys probably already know if you watch any of my other videos, I love to do everything homemade from scratch. So we're baking our own gluten-free bread. We're gonna put in a teaspoon of kosher salt. And this actually, the baking powder comes a little bit later, so don't put that in yet. Now we'll take our yeast, pour it in. I'm gonna take a wooden spoon and mix it up. So this is a really wet and sticky dough. It's not a normal bread dough that is kind of tacky and elastic. This is just almost as you can see, it's not like a dough like that. So it'll get, as it rests, it'll get more like a dough, but we're not gonna be kneading it. Just make sure it's smooth and everything's all incorporated. So This is the consistency that you want. It's not, again, not like that bread dough that we normally make. Our dough is all mixed. It's ready to rise. So we're gonna take another bowl, put some olive oil in it, and then you'll take a paper towel and coat that bowl in olive oil. We just don't want this dough to stick really bad. Now we'll just dump all this dough into the bowl. As you can see, we're not gonna be shaping this dough. It is way too sticky and wet. There's no way to shape it. So, however it falls out into the bowl is perfect. Now we're gonna cover this with saran wrap and let it sit on the kitchen counter for 12 to 18 hours. This is a no-knead bread, but it is not like my quick and easy no-knead bread. It takes a long time to rise. So make this the night before, let it sit out on your counter overnight. You can finish it off in the morning and have your French toast for brunch. All right, so I was smart and thought ahead last night. So I made the dough last night. It's been sitting on my kitchen counter, rising. And as you can see, it hasn't, actually it's pretty much doubled in size. It's not huge as it would be with normal bread dough. Normal bread dough would probably be like overfilling this bowl. But as you can see, there's some bubbles in there and it's risen quite a bit. Now it is time to sprinkle our baking powder on our dough. We're using half a teaspoon, sprinkle it on. And we're just gonna very gently stir the dough and stir the baking powder into this. All right, see, we don't wanna deflate it too much, but we want that baking powder to get in there. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna be using a little mini loaf pan to shape our dough. So I have some oil. I've rubbed a little bit of olive oil on it. We're gonna put it in here. All right, and we're gonna dump out our dough into our pan. So all our dough is in our little loaf pan now. So we are going to cover this with a little tea towel and let it rise for 2 hours. Our dough has been rising for 2 hours. Let's take a look at it. All right, so it's risen up a bit. Our oven has been preheating to 450 degrees for 30 minutes now. We put our Dutch oven in there to preheat with it, so it's hot. I'm gonna get that out. Okay, we're gonna take off this lid. And the reason we put it in the Dutch oven is that creates that nice environment to get this top all crispy crunchy. Another way you could do this is just put it in the oven, have a baking dish below, pour hot water in it, and immediately shut the door, and that will create a bunch of steam that's gonna create this crispy crust. All right, so we're gonna cover it. We're going to lower our oven down to 400 degrees, bake it in there for 30 minutes, then uncover it and bake it for another 10 minutes. Our bread is out of the oven, so let's just take it out of this little pan, right? And we're gonna let this cool for an hour. All right, so while our bread is cooling, we're gonna make our coconut whipped cream. I put this can in the fridge overnight. You want it cold. It'll make it easier to whip up. So just open up your can and we're gonna scoop out this cream into our bowl. You wanna just get the hardened cream though. You do not want the liquid at the bottom. You can save that and make smoothies with it or whatever you wanna do with it. So you can add like powdered sugar to this if you would like, or even stevia to make it a little healthier. I'm not going to because I'm trying to keep this French toast as healthy as possible. So just turn on your mixer and we're gonna whip it up. All right, it's all whipped up now. We'll put it aside in a bowl so we can use it on our French toast. All right, let's make the batter for our French toast. So we're gonna start with using a cup of almond milk. Use whatever kind of almond milk you have. I had this one. My favorite though is the Khalifa Farms one. It's really, really good and creamy. Right. Just dump it into a bowl. Half a tablespoon of maple syrup. Half a teaspoon of cinnamon. Half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then we'll add in our tablespoon of chia seeds. Let's give it a stir. All right, now we're gonna let this sit in the fridge for about 10 to 15 minutes. All right, our bread has cooled. Let's go ahead and slice it for our French toast. It's kind of crunchy on the outside. It's got some air bubbles. Again, gluten-free bread is pretty dense, regardless of, you know, what flours you use. It's a hard bread to make. All right, let's turn on our stove, like medium high. All right, while that's heating up, let's soak our bread. And there we want about 20 seconds per side. All right, let's flip these over. All right, let's put a little bit of olive oil in our pan so our bread doesn't stick. All right, let's put in our French toast. Smells super good. We're gonna cook these for about 3 to 4 minutes per side until they're golden brown. All right, let's flip these. French toast is cooked. Let's go ahead and assemble it. Stack it. We're gonna put some of this coconut whipped cream on all the layers. Right, another stack. Let's put one of these on. It's gonna be a tall stack. So if you're wondering what to make your vegan and gluten-free mom for Mother's Day, this is the perfect thing. It's super healthy. There's barely any sugar, a little bit in the bread and then a little bit in the maple syrup, but I mean, that's it. There's barely any sugar. Top with some more whipped coconut cream. All right, let's add some berries to this. We've got some blueberries and strawberries. Let's add some around the bottom too. Alrighty. Now, of course, we gotta pour on our maple syrup. Oh, look at that. Oh my gosh, I love a maple syrup drizzle. Looks incredible. All right, I can't wait to get a bite of this one. See if I can even eat this. Cut into this, oh my gosh. Get some of that maple syrup. Definitely a blueberry and strawberry. Ooh, everything's falling. That's really good. I actually can't believe that is vegan and gluten-free. It's, oh, our tower is falling. Well, at least now we can eat it, so. The bread is really soft. It's not gummy and dense like most gluten-free breads. It's not overly sweet because, again, this is a healthy version. We don't put a bunch of sugar, but there is still some sweetness from the berries and the maple syrup, the coconut cream. I love that, a little taste of coconut. It's really good. I hope you guys enjoyed my vegan and gluten-free French toast recipe. Full recipe can be found on my food blog at lagameats.com. I've got new delicious dishes coming out every week, so hit a like and subscribe below. I'll see you guys next time. Hey do!